In November 2022, a 30-year-old named Sam Bankman-Fried was on the cover of Forbes magazine. The headline called him the next Warren Buffett. 3 weeks later, FTX, his crypto exchange, which at its peak handled $10 billion in daily trading volume, collapsed in about 72 hours. 1 million customers logged in to find they couldn't withdraw their money. The money was gone. Not lost in a market crash. Gone. Moved, spent, lent to a sister company that had been making leveraged bets with customer deposits for years. SBF, as everyone called him, was arrested at his penthouse in the Bahamas on December 12, 2022. He was wearing a t-shirt and cargo shorts. He had been sleeping on a beanbag in his office the week before, giving interviews to journalists who were trying to understand how $8 billion in customer funds had simply vanished. He is currently serving 25 years in federal prison. This is not a story about one bad actor. Sam Bankman-Fried is the most famous version of something that has happened dozens of times in crypto in different amounts, with different names, across a decade of an industry that was built on a genuinely interesting idea and became, at every level, something that the interesting idea was never supposed to be. The interesting idea was this: what if you could have a financial system that nobody controlled? No banks, no governments, no intermediaries taking their cut, just math, just code, just a ledger that everyone can see and nobody can change without consensus. That idea still exists somewhere inside all of this. It's just very hard to find under everything that's been built on top of it. Here's what's actually been built, every level of it, honest. Level 1, the retail gambler, 3 a.m., blue light, red candles, and the specific feeling of watching your rent money disappear in real time. You found crypto the way most people find crypto. Someone told you about it. Maybe it was a coworker who kept mentioning Bitcoin in 2020 when it was running up. Maybe it was a Reddit thread that appeared in your feed about a coin called Dogecoin that had gone up 400% in a week. Maybe it was a TikTok with a guy in a Lambo explaining that the financial system is broken and crypto is the exit, and you need to get in now before the window closes. The window closing urgency is always part of it. FOMO. Fear of missing out is the engine that drives retail crypto participation more reliably than any technology assessment or fundamental analysis. The stories are always about the people who got in early. The guy who bought Bitcoin at $200, the person who put $1,000 into Ethereum in 2016 and now has $300,000. The narrative is always about the ones who made it, and the narrative makes perfect sense to your brain because your brain is wired to update toward vivid stories rather than base rates. The base rate is most people who buy crypto assets most of the time lose money. Not because crypto is worthless, because the way most people interact with it is designed to transfer wealth from people who don't know what they're doing to people who do. You bought a meme coin at 3 a.m., not because you believed in it. You didn't know what it was. You saw it moving in a Telegram group. Someone posted a chart showing it was up 600% in 4 hours, and the comments were full of people saying they were already up 3 times and getting in now before it hit the big exchanges. You put in $800, more than you meant to. The adrenaline of watching it move made the number feel less real than it was. By 4 a.m., it was up 40%. Your $800 was worth $1,120, and you felt something that is genuinely difficult to describe accurately. A combination of vindication and greed, and the specific intoxicating sensation of being right about something in a way that paid immediately. By 8 a.m., it was worth $200. The chart looked like a cliff. Straight up for 4 hours, then straight down for 40 minutes, then flatline. You looked at it for a while, you refreshed the page. The number didn't change. You got up and made coffee and tried to do math about whether $200 was enough to recover from if you averaged down. You didn't average down. You took the $200 and held the position for 3 more weeks because selling meant making the loss real. And unrealized losses exist in a gentler dimension where recovery is still theoretically possible. The coin eventually went to zero. The developers had removed the liquidity, pulled the money out of the trading pool in a move called a rug pull within the first 12 hours. The 600% run wasn't organic. it was manufactured. The people celebrating in the Telegram group at midnight were the people selling to you at 3 a.m. You knew somewhere in the back of your mind that something like this was possible. The knowing wasn't enough. The knowing is never enough when the chart is moving and the comments are celebrating and it's 3 a.m. and the number is going up. This is not stupidity. This is human neurology interacting with a system specifically engineered to exploit it. Level 2. The Discord. Shill $0.003 per message. Hundreds of servers. Copy-paste until your fingers go numb. You found the job on a Telegram channel called Crypto Earners, or something similar. The post said, earn crypto by promoting projects, flexible hours, work from anywhere. The actual job, you're given a set of talking points about a new token, usually 3 to 5 bullet points about the project's potential, the team's credentials, the upcoming exchange listings, and you post them across as many crypto Discord servers and Telegram groups as you can access. You get paid in the project's own token, which is worth something only if the project succeeds, which it usually doesn't. The talking points are not true. You know this because one of the first projects you shilled, you looked it up. The team was anonymous. The white paper was 8 pages of vague language about disrupting traditional finance. The partnership with a major exchange was a letter of intent that the exchange later denied issuing. The working product was a website with a countdown timer. You posted the talking points anyway, not because you believed them, but because $0.003 per message times 500 messages is $1.50, and $1.50 is $1.50 when you're 22 and broke and the job doesn't require you to be anywhere or wear anything. The communities you post in are full of people exactly like you and War. People shilling things they don't believe in. To other people shilling things they don't believe in, occasionally interrupted by an actual retail investor who showed up because someone told them this was a good community for finding early-stage opportunities. The retail investor is the point of the whole ecosystem. Every other participant exists to manufacture the appearance of organic community enthusiasm that will make the retail investor feel like they found something real before the people who got in first exit their position. You don't think about it this directly while you're doing it. You think about the 500 messages and the $1.50 and whether the payout is in something you can actually convert to dollars or whether it's locked for 6 months while the project hopefully doesn't die. Most of the projects die. You move to the next Telegram channel. You read the new talking points. You start typing. Level 3. The industrial miner, $3 million in hardware, $800,000 monthly electricity bill. You are converting energy into math and calling it a business. The facility is in Wyoming. You chose Wyoming because the electricity is cheap, coal-powered mostly, which is a detail you don't lead with in interviews, and because the regulatory environment is friendly, and because the winters keep the cooling costs manageable for the 8 months of the year when it's cold enough to matter. The sound inside is the first thing people notice when you bring them through. It's not loud the way a concert is loud. It's loud the way standing next to a highway is loud, constant, physical, a vibration you feel in your chest before you consciously register it as sound. 2,000 ASIC miners, each one a specialized computer doing nothing except trying to solve a specific mathematical problem, faster than every other computer in the world doing the same thing. This is Bitcoin mining. The mathematical problem, finding a specific hash that meets the network's current difficulty target, serves no purpose except to prove that work was done. The proof of work consensus mechanism is how Bitcoin decides who gets to add the next block to the blockchain and collect the block reward. It's intentionally wasteful. That's the point. The waste is the security. Your operation consumes approximately 28 megawatts of power continuously. For context, that's roughly the electricity consumption of 22,000 American homes every day to generate Bitcoin. The economics are a function of 2 numbers you cannot control: the Bitcoin price and the network difficulty, which is determined by how much total computing power is pointed at the network globally. When Bitcoin runs up, mining becomes more profitable and more miners enter, which increases difficulty, which decreases each miner's share of the reward. When Bitcoin drops, the weakest operations, The ones with the highest electricity costs go offline, which decreases difficulty, which increases each survivor's share. You've survived 3 down cycles. 2 of your competitors didn't. The environmental conversation is one you have regularly with journalists and occasionally with city officials in places where you've tried to expand. Your answer is prepared. Renewable energy is increasingly part of the mix. The network is transitioning. Stranded energy that would otherwise be wasted is being utilized. The financial system you're supporting consumes energy too. These points are all partially true. You know they're partially true. The journalist knows they're partially true. Both parties continue the conversation using the partially true framework because that's the framework available. After the interview, you go back inside. The machines are running, the hash rate is up. Bitcoin is at $67,000 this week, which means the economics are very good. You check the electricity bill, you move the numbers around in the spreadsheet, the margins are there, you approve the expansion. Level 4, the smart contract developer. 10 minutes of copy-paste, 3 lines of custom code. A new token is born. You already know how this ends. The repository is on GitHub. Open source, MIT license, anyone can use it. You found it 3 months ago when you were building something legitimate. An actual DeFi protocol with a real use case, the kind of project that the early crypto idealists imagined when they talked about decentralized finance. You spent 6 weeks on the architecture, you hired an auditor, you wrote documentation. That project is on hold because the market didn't care. What the market cared about during the last 2 months was dogs, frogs, specific internet memes repackaged as tokens, Shibu, Pepe, 100 variations with names that were jokes until they had 9-figure market caps, at which point they became jokes that had made some people very rich and a lot of people moderately to significantly poorer. You understand the technology. You understand that a meme coin is just an ERC20 token on Ethereum. A standard contract, a ticker, a total supply, a name. You can deploy one in about 10 minutes using the open source code from GitHub, a funded wallet for gas fees, and a basic understanding of how to interact with a deployment script. You do it as an experiment. You tell yourself it's an experiment. The token has a dog on it. The name is a variation of an existing popular dog coin, but with an additional modifier that makes it technically distinct. Dog name 2.0 or super dog name, or dog name on blockchain name, because originality is not what the market is evaluating. You seed a liquidity pool on Uniswap with $2,000 worth of ETH. This creates a price. The price can now go up if people buy more than they sell, and down if they sell more than they buy. You are the only person who knows the total supply distribution. You kept 15% of the tokens, which is industry standard and disclosed in the contract technically. You post the contract address in 3 Telegram groups and 2 Discord servers. Not your real identity. An anonymous account you created for this. The post follows a format you've seen hundreds of times. Contract address, no team tokens. This is not accurate but is unverifiable at the time of posting. LP locked. The liquidity pool lockup period is 30 days, which sounds meaningful and is not long enough to matter. Community driven, massive potential. Within 2 hours, it's up 400%. You didn't buy the early pump. There were other wallets that got in before you posted, which means someone in one of those groups runs a sniper bot that buys any new token contract posted there automatically. By the time the retail buyers arrive from your second wave of posts, they're buying from the sniper bots and from each other. And the price action looks organic because there are real transactions happening, and the chart looks exactly like the chart that made you buy something at 3 a.m. a year ago. You sell your 15% over 4 hours, small amounts at a time, so no single transaction looks like a dump. This is called distribution. It's standard practice. It's also the mechanism by which the people who bought at the top will never see that money again. The experiment netted $31,000. You tell yourself it was an experiment. You start looking at the GitHub repo again. Level 5, the market maker. $10 million to create the illusion of momentum, then get out before the music stops. You call this providing liquidity? The meeting is in a conference room in San Francisco. 5 people, you, 2 partners from the fund, the project's lead developer, and the developer's lawyer, who is there to ensure that the structure of the arrangement is documented in a way that technically complies with securities law as it currently applies to digital assets, which is ambiguously enough to allow significant interpretation. The project is a Layer 2 blockchain protocol, legitimate technology, actually. The team has been building for 2 years, the code is audited, there's a real use case in reducing transaction costs for DeFi applications. But legitimate technology doesn't automatically generate the price action that creates the liquidity that attracts the institutional capital that validates the project as a serious player in the space. This is where you come in. Your fund provides market-making services. The arrangement, as structured, works like this. The project allocates you tokens from their treasury at a discounted rate. You deploy capital to create buy-side volume that establishes a price floor and a trend line that looks to an outside observer like organic demand building. You simultaneously maintain relationships with crypto media publications and analyst accounts that will cover the project's growth, timed to coincide with the chart movement you're engineering. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle. The chart goes up because you're buying. The coverage increases because the chart went up. Retail investors enter because of the coverage. The retail inflow pushes the chart higher. The higher chart generates more coverage. The cycle continues until you've distributed your discounted token allocation into the retail inflow. At that point, the cycle runs in reverse. You stop buying, the buy pressure disappears, the chart starts moving sideways, the coverage becomes neutral. The retail investors who bought near the top start wondering what happened. What happened is that you provided liquidity and then you stopped providing it, which is accurate and incomplete in the same way that saying you moved your car is accurate and incomplete when the car was in someone's way. The project team knows this is what's happening. They needed the liquidity event to hit milestones for their Series B. They got it. The retail investors who bought the top don't know this is what happened. They don't have a seat at this meeting. The arrangement is structured carefully to avoid the specific regulatory definitions that would make it illegal. The lawyers are good. The structure holds. You fly back to New York. The fund's returns for the quarter are strong. Level 6. The exchange. CEO somewhere in the Bahamas. Billions in customer deposits. And the specific moment when you realize the math doesn't work anymore. The office has a view of the ocean. You didn't build this exchange to steal from anyone. You want to be precise about that even now. When you started it, the vision was real. A platform where anyone in the world could access financial markets, where the barriers that kept ordinary people out of sophisticated investing would finally come down, where crypto's promise of a more open financial system would become accessible at scale. The vision was real. The execution created a problem that you didn't address when you should have and then couldn't address when you wanted to. The problem started small. Your trading arm, technically a separate entity, practically your operation, had positions that needed liquidity. The easiest source of liquidity was the customer deposits sitting in your exchange's wallets. Not stolen, borrowed. You were going to pay it back. The positions were going to recover. This is what you told yourself at every decision point where a different choice was available. The positions didn't recover, the borrowing grew. By the time the market turned in 2022 and a competitor published an analysis of your balance sheet that circulated on crypto Twitter, the gap between what you owed customers and what you actually had was approximately $8 billion. $8 billion. The withdrawals started on a Tuesday. Normal levels. By Wednesday, they were elevated. By Thursday, they were a run. Every customer who had ever wondered about the safety of leaving assets on an exchange was finding out simultaneously that wondering was the right instinct. You announced a pause on withdrawals on Friday morning. The announcement said it was temporary, a liquidity management measure. The company was working on solutions. This was the last public statement that bore any relationship to the reality of the situation, which was that there was no solution that didn't involve the full gap becoming public knowledge. The full gap became public knowledge within 48 hours. There's a thing that happens when you're at the center of something this size collapsing, a specific quality of time where everything is moving very fast and very slow simultaneously. The calls are coming in every few minutes. The lawyers are in every room. The journalists are outside. the customers are posting on Twitter with numbers, their savings, their retirement accounts, their college funds, and asking what happened to them. What happened to them is that they trusted you, and you made decisions compounding over years that made their trust unjustifiable. You are arrested in December. The t-shirt and cargo shorts are not a statement. You just hadn't changed. The judge sentences you to 25 years. In the sentencing statement, the judge says the fraud was not a mistake or a lapse in judgment, but a sustained, deliberate choice to use other people's money as if it were your own. You think about whether that's accurate. You've had time to think about it. You're still thinking. If this is the kind of story you want more of, subscribe. It keeps this going. And if you've been through any version of this, drop a comment. The conversation is part of the point.